Hey YouTube, Fat Man's here. Got my Western Marshall on the bench, and we'll get to that in a bit. Just to make all the safety Sallies happy. It is empty. Point in the safe direction. I'm going to lower the hammer. Not going to dry fire my revolver. And we'll leave that sit there for a minute. This is the wallet from the other day. I've been carrying it for about a week. The thing has been great. The knot that I got in my thread wound up right here, right on the outside top, right where every time I grab it, I feel that knot. So that kind of sucks, but what do you do? It is mine. It's not, I'm not selling it or anything, so it's personal. But it works out pretty well. I have, a spot for my card, my debit card, my driver's license. Yes, we're in Minnesota. And let me tell you what, last 2 days it's been raining. And I walked out to come out here today and keep the cash behind my cards. I walked out to come out here and I walked past the house, or got to the open part between the house and my shop. And my Lord, that wind was something terrible. And I just looked at my weather forecast. Says we're going to be experiencing 25 to 35 below wind chills today and tomorrow. So, that sounds really cool. Sounds like a lot of fun. I'm pretty excited. But let's get real, it's Minnesota. We should be used to that. But we haven't had a lot of snow, so that rain is now frozen on my driveway, and I almost fell on my ass. Which, where I slipped would have really hurt, because that's where my snowplow and stuff was. Anyway, the wallet's working out really well. I've been carrying it for a week, and I think I might be a convert away from my money clip and to go to the wallet. It's really thin. It's, it's not a lot. Not a whole lot bigger than a credit card, really. So, I don't know. I'm starting to feel the conversion from money clip to wallet, as long as I can keep a small one. The only other ones I've seen like that are this size are those trifolds, and they're thick as all get out. And I don't want that. I don't need to carry a lot. 2 cards and cash. I don't even carry change. I throw that in my ashtray. When my ashtray gets full, I take it into the bank, and I take the cash, and it goes in my little jar here. And when I got enough money, I buy another gun. Or whatever I'm going to buy. I bought some power tools a couple of times when I saw the right deal. Anyway, my next leather project is going to be a holster for the Hawes. I did find a piece of leather that'll be big enough. And if I take it this way, and just kind of line everything up, clip it here, throw a clip there, and slide the gun in there. And I think I've got plenty of leather to make a holster and make a pretty decent one. I'm not one of those guys that wants a real fancy carved holster with the flowers and crap all over it. I want a plain Jane, functional holster. Most of the ones I see have a little cutout here, around where your trigger is. I haven't decided if I'm going to do that or not. I don't know if I like the idea of being able to cock it and, shoot my foot. 357 Magnum hurts when it shoots your foot, I'm sure. I don't want to find out. So, but the next step, now that I have a piece that I know is going to fit, I'm going to take my gun, lay it on here. I have some of these old manila folders that I stole from my wife. She knows I stole them. And I'm just going to lay my gun in there. And try to line up the sights on the seam. Now, I I've seen this done with a lot of other guns, and this is how I did the one for my Sigma and my Makarov and several others. But at the same time, I don't know how many of you have handled these Old West style Colt single action armies. This is not a Colt. It is that style, the same style as the single action army. But they're heavier. They're a lot heavier. But I'll set my gun like this, roll it, and with the cylinder there, I kind of hold it this way. And my sight is kind of short, so I'm going to straighten it out a little bit here. And here's my pencil. My pencil appears to be just about out of lead. That sounds kind of bad. But I'm going to just kind of make a quick outline of the gun. Nothing fancy, because in the end it's just a rough layout anyway. Since I'm not going to be wet forming it, I'm not so worried about it. Then we'll lay it back on the line and roll it to the other side. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna. I'm gonna buck the system a little bit. Everybody else will roll it to the other side, and then they'll have that laid out. I'm gonna fold it in half, since I got a good crease there to begin with. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this out, since I have to account for the thickness of the gun on there as well, which is close to about 1.75 inches thick. So I need to account for the thickness of the cylinder. And right now I want a rough template to make a rough holster. I can fine tune things later. I'm not real concerned about that. I can rough this out, use my little clamps to hold it together, and fine tune things along the way, trim a little more off. So what I'm going to do, just to rough this out, is I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to come out from the farthest point. I'm going to come out at least 1 inch. And then I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. And I'm going to go that way. Here I'm going to come out another 1 inch. And here another 1 inch. In reality, I'm probably going to stop about here. And as I said, it's not... We'll get some rough lines. Now, obviously here, there's going to have to be... I'm going to have to go back this way, that same 1 inch. Now, I've seen a lot of these holsters, and a lot of them seem to be more of a pocket for the gun. So I'm kind of going in that respect. So I'm just going to freehand a little here. For where my trigger guard is. And it'll just continue straight up. And like I said, I'm probably going to come and cut off right at the top part of the trigger guard. Oops, get my thumb in the way. So I'm going to go roughly like that. Now I'm going to do some contouring along the way, just to kind of change things a little bit. This isn't all going to stay this way. This will kind of bring it down a little. I guess that it more fits the gun. I've seen a lot of these, they seem to look more like a pocket than anything that's somewhat shaped like the firearm. And I don't need anything fancy. It's going to hold my gun. I'm going to have a strap to hold the wrap around the hammer. Like you've seen the old West ones, you undo your tether and then you can draw your gun. Kind of like that. And mostly just to retain the firearm, because I am going to use it for hunting. So I might get rid of some of this just because I don't need a whole lot of shape to it. It's basically, it's a pocket for a gun. So I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to leave it together like this. And I know that when I fit my leather to it, I need to leave this long so that I can close the bottom of the holster. So we'll take the scissors I swiped from my wife. One of her butchering scissors. I know, I mean, but she's got two of them. I've got another scissors out here, but it's just a piece of crap. And my Hawes has a 5 1/4 inch barrel on it. And that's roughly what it's going to be like, a little longer. But hey, how much more do you need? We fold it out. We can take the gun, place it in there, in that position, and we can check to make sure all the way around that we've got plenty of room to do stitching and whatever else needs to be. I do need to keep this bottom part with enough room so that when I do put my sights, new sights on the gun, that everything is going to fit. So far, this is looking pretty good. So I clamp it here. And I can go here, throw another clamp in, and see, you can see I can put the clamp in there quite a ways. So you know that I've got plenty of room for stitching along here. And I'll make it, I'm guessing, about an inch longer, because my barrel is just about at the end. I'll make it about an inch longer, and I'll curve it, and I'll stitch the bottom closed. I will leave a very small hole in the bottom, right in the corner, so that if I am out and it's raining or snowing or whatever, any moisture that gets in there can drain out the bottom of the holster, because leather is pretty good at retaining things like that. It's not quite your gun at yourself. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my piece of leather, which will be beautiful and lovely, and I'm going to go like that, and I'm just going to cut around it. And I don't necessarily know that anybody wants to see me cutting leather, so I'm going to shut the camera off, and we'll pick up in a bit. So there'll probably be, I'm going to say there's going to be a part 2, which will be after I cut the leather. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll be back shortly with the second installment. Thanks for watching.